sure.
All right, so Kenny's on the phone line, and Tim's on Skype, and then we're here. So, Eric, you run the show on this thing. What are we doing here? We're going to grade out what?
Brian Hoyer.
All right, we're grading
Brian Hoyer.
By the way, you got to remember to talk into the mic there. Eric,
Yes, that would help.
All right, so first off, we're gonna grade Brian Hoyer. Let's start with Tim first. Give us a grade on Brian Hoyer.
I'm going to give Brian a B just because, the first half was, kind of tough for the offense, but the way he bounced back in the second half, I'll give him a B in the way he stuck with him and got things going in the second half for the Browns.
Kenny, what'd you give him?
I gave him a C because I had a D in the first half and A in the second half, so I balanced it out, and I gave him a C because he showed up big in the second half, and he was the guy that spoke up in the locker room at halftime. Now I need to see him do that from the beginning of the game for a full game this season and start earning the reputation as a starting quarterback as opposed to just a career backup trying to become a starter.
Andre.
I gave him a B. I'm a tough grader, and you'll see that as we go along, but I've watched a lot of quarterbacks go into Heinz Field, get down and cower in the moment and not step up. What he did in the second half, not turning the football over inside that stadium, I gave him a B because I think not only did he make something big yesterday, but I think going forward, his teammates are going to rally behind him no matter what.
All right, that was one of the reasons I gave him a B as well. The other thing that I will always take out of this game is that Brian Hoyer stepped up, and now if I was a guy that was playing with Brian Hoyer, that I want to play for him. I want to go through brick walls for him. He proved to me yesterday that all the things about him sitting behind Tom Brady, all the things about him failing in Arizona or not having a good run in Pittsburgh when he was there, all those things are out the window. Yesterday, Brian Hoyer taught me that if there's crunch time and we're really down, he can bring us back in this thing. So that's why I gave him a B. Let's move forward now. Let's go to running back, and we'll go back to Tim. Tim, what did you think of running back situation yesterday? What grade do you give it?
Overall, I thought it was good. I'll give the running backs a B because I've been in that stadium many times, and I know how difficult it is to run the football against those guys. But I thought the way Ben Tate, before the injury, was running the ball well. Terrence West went for 100 yards, and then Isaiah Crowell, 2 touchdowns on the ground, those 2 rookies. It's hard not to give those guys a pretty good grade, so I'll give them a B.
Kenny.
I gave him an A, guys. 183 yards on the road at Pittsburgh. You had 2 touchdowns from Crowell in the first game of the season. Do you realize, guys, last year the Browns as a team had 4 rushing touchdowns, Edwin Baker with 2 and Willis McGahee with 2. So with what they did yesterday, running the football, the O-line doing their job, a rookie going for 100 yards, I gave him an A.
That was the only A that I thought I might give yesterday. I went B+. When you consider those are 2 rookie running backs out there, it's so hard almost not to grade an A, but I wanted to leave some room for growth. So I'm a tough grader when it comes to that. Andre.
Is that what they did to you at Cleveland Heights?
That's how they did it to us.
Right. And you went to Kent State like me. That's A.
Oh, are you kidding? That's summa cum laude.
Kent State.
Yes.
I went A-. It's unbelievable, as everybody's already said. It's unbelievable to see the Browns run the football like that on the Steelers. I know the Steelers aren't the usual Steelers team, but to have 2 rookies come out like that, definitely A-. And a lot of room to grow because now you have those two kids kind of pushing each other. It's not like they can sit back and go, I got this. You got a guy your same age that's just as good as you. I think this is going to be great going forward for the Browns.
Yeah, well, you and Kenny can forget about it. I'll go with Tim every time, and if Tim says it's a B, I say it's a B too. He's got his doctorate in football as far as I'm concerned.
Suck up.
Let's go wide receiver on this, Tim. What do you got there?
I'm going to give the wide receivers a C. I was real disappointed in them in the way they played the first half. I didn't think they could get any separation from the Pittsburgh DBs, but second half they were great. Andre Hawkins caught a lot of balls, but, Jordan Cameron had a couple early before the injury. But other than that, Miles Austin made a couple plays here and there, but as a group, I'll give them a C for the first game.
Kenny.
C-. Without Josh Gordon, there's no deep threat. And, yes, Hawkins had a nice game in the second half, but he averaged 10 yards per catch. He's a possession underneath receiver. There's no deep threat, Miles Austin. Let's see, what's the over-under on games before he pulls his hamstring and is out for the season?
I'm going
Andre?
6.
So that's about to happen, and he didn't show up yesterday, so I gave him a C-.
Andre.
I went C+. I thought that, in the first half, I didn't see a lot of guys getting open. I know Tim said this earlier, it's hard to see on the TV reel, but just guys aren't getting open. But I will give him the plus because in the second half, not only were you without Josh Gordon, you didn't have Jordan Cameron either. And I think that changes things. And I put the tight ends into this. For them to move the football with the receivers that they did have, I give them a C+. But I think this is going to be all season, guys. It is what it is.
All right, I'm off the charts on this one. I gave him a B+ for the simple fact that I expected nothing. 0. I expected Johnny Manziel to be in by the second half, because the wide receivers were going to drop everything. They were dropping everything at practice. They dropped everything in the preseason. And the fact that they looked effective yesterday gave me the B on this, Kenny, because I expected zero. The bar was so low on the ground that the fact that I really didn't have a whole lot to complain, other than the separation in the first half, I'll give them a B. That's how bad. I even gave them B+. That's how bad I expected the wide receivers to be yesterday.
I want you as my professor. Jeez.
Tell him, Kenny.
All right, Mike Pettin, let's grade him on this one, too. All right, Tim, don't think I'm crazy on the B+ on that, but Mike Pettin.
I'm going to give Coach Pettin a B. You know, I think the first half, I thought the game plan, they just couldn't execute it for whatever reason. I thought they were out of position on offense and defense. They couldn't get lined up on defense. But I thought at halftime, the adjustments he was able to make and just keeping those guys together and keeping them believing and that they had a chance in the second half, I'll give them a B for that effort.
All right, Kenny, you gave him a C. I think that's an excellent grade. Kenny, why?
Game plan going into, I see your grade up there now, too. Game plan going into the game, lack of execution in the first half was an F. A in the second half, whether he said it or Hoyer said it, whatever they did in the locker room to adjust. And he looked like a badass on the sidelines, didn't he, with those shades, the bald head, the sun shining down and all that. So at least he looks the part, but hopefully he'll be able to do it for 4 quarters starting this week against the New Orleans Saints, so I gave him a C.
Andre.
I didn't know we were grading the look. Maybe I would have gave him a B- because he does look intimidating. Looks like somebody I should be watching on WWE on a Monday night. The way they came out, you just can't do. That was definitely an F for the first half. The team in the game 1 of the NFL season, you should come out on fire, and they did not, and I think that's a problem. And here's the other problem I have, guys. Coach Pettin is a defensive guy. We can talk about all these great numbers that were put up, but the Steelers ran on them, and you can't have and they threw the ball whenever they wanted to in the first half. But having his players step up for him in the second half, he gets a C+ for me. But I'm worried about that run defense, and I'm worried about Justin Gilbert. So that's something we'll have to look to work towards as we go forward.
First half for me was the reason that he got the C. Second half, I'm giving Kyle Shanahan a lot of credit because I think he's truly doing all the offense. And for Mike Pettin, who's a defensive expert, to lay an egg in his first 2 quarters as a head coach, it bothered me a lot. I mean, you're saying if there's one thing that was going to be good on this team, it was going to be the defense, and they were abysmal in the first half. So that's why you got a C for me. Let's wrap it up with the defense, and we'll start with Tim. Tim, what do you got on the defense for yesterday?
I'm going to give the defense a C just because of the fact they were so bad in the first half. It was definitely an F in the first half. They couldn't get lined up. They couldn't get pressure on the quarterback. They couldn't cover receivers. Ben was doing whatever he wanted, almost 300 yards passing in the first half. But that second half, Kruger started getting pressure on the QB, and things changed. The DB's coverage got a lot better. They got the ball back to the offense. So overall, I'll give them a C.
All right, Kenny.
D for the defense, Justin Gilbert, an F-. Can you give somebody an F-?
Yes, you can. When I went to Cleveland Heights, I had a couple of those.
0.0.
Horrific start to his NFL career. You guys talked about the fake punt, getting beat on the last 2 pass play. He had the penalty, a stupid penalty. So, yeah, I think overall the defense, 364 yards given up in the first half, guys, and 27 points. That's a game for the Browns in your hat. But in the first half, ridiculous. And Mike Pettin, yeah, that's on him and O'Neal as well. So a D+ for the defense.
Andre.
C- for me. I think you look at it, it was embarrassing what they did in the first half. Like Kenny said, the yards they gave up in the first half is usually what you give up in a game. But I give them credit for bouncing back. But if they play defense like that next week against New Orleans, we're going to be sitting here talking about an 0-2 team that's looking – I mean, you can't play that way. And at some point in time, they've got to get Gilbert to play better football as well. That was embarrassing in the first half, guys.
I went off the board. I went incomplete because they were so bad in the first half and so good. It's so decent, I would say, in the second half that I want to see what they do next week so I can get a read. Are they that team we saw from the first half, or are they the team that we saw from the second half? Let's go. Hey, Tim, I just want to thank you again for this week. I thought you did a great job. We're really looking forward to having you on all season long. Your insight has been second to none, and really, really appreciate you being here today.
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. I had a good time. Looking forward to working with you guys this season.
Sounds good. Thanks, Tim. And what do you got going on next so we can keep our eye on you, too?
I'm at Vanderbilt this weekend. I call Vanderbilt and UMass's game this weekend. So should be about Vanderbilt's off to a tough start this year. So.
Tim, I got to ask you a question before you
They
go.
suck, Tim.
What were your thoughts on the uniforms Kentucky wore last week against OU? What the heck was that?
Oh, man, those were wild, weren't they? You know what? I kind of liked them, though, but They were so different, it kind of caught me off guard at first, and then they kind of grew on me as the game went on. But, these uniform changes, these players, they get into that. They love it. They get up for it, makes them get excited for the game. So whatever it takes to get a win, I'm for it.
I hear you.
Hey, do you think, I know we got John here, do you think that makes a difference to a kid coming out of high school what the uniform looks like? Did that for you?
Oh, yeah. I
did?
think it makes a difference. In today's game, these kids, the way Oregon's doing all the uniform changes, all these kids, they want locker rooms, weight rooms, all the facilities, uniforms. It all makes a difference in getting these kids to decide to come to your school or not.
Unbelievable. All right, Tim, we'll talk to you next week. Thank you so much. Great job today.
Okay, guys, appreciate it. See you
All right,
next
we'll talk to you next week. All right, Kenny, before we let you go, what do you got to plug for us?
Well, I'm going to be, let's see, tonight I'm doing some trivia out at Johnny Malloy's in Medina, KennyRota.com. We'll have blogs, podcasts, all that up there, and then I'll be filling in for Bruce Drennan, let's see, next Monday and the following Monday after that, working with Chris Beanie Wells on All Bets Are Off when Bruce is off. So I'll be a little bit busy doing all that stuff, and, of course, Dogs on the Run, and I don't know if we're doing some Ohio State stuff or not after what happened the other night. You let me know about that, Andy. I'm ready for that if we are.
It'll be interesting to see what I think the
lights.
number of games we may have had on ABC may have diminished after the other day. So thank you, Kenny. I appreciate it.
I don't think.
All right, guys. See you. Thanks.
We'll talk to you later.
I don't think any Big Ten team should make it on it.
That might have been one. So I'm sitting at Notre Dame watching this game, and I look down and I go, this may be one of the worst nights in the history of the Big Ten.
Yes, it is. Jim Delaney, open your eyes. Something's got to change. That was an embarrassing weekend for the Big Ten.
All right, Eric.
They shouldn't play on New Year's Day after that.
It's a long season. Come on, it's week 2.
Did
Would
you
stop?
see what happened? All right, Wisconsin
First of
totally
all,
wet the bed.
let me just say this: Michigan was so pathetic on Saturday night. So I go to Notre Dame and I'm watching Notre Dame and Michigan, and for me, I'm just like Switzerland there because I'm like,
Right.
can both these teams lose?
Right.
That's the way I would. But I will say the fans at Notre Dame are phenomenal. They're really nice.
Good people.
But there's no replay in the stadium. They don't have replay
It's
now,
like
so
on
you're
a
going
Wrigley
nuts.
Field.
Yeah, it's quaint and it's weird. I don't know how you can say quaint with 80,000, but compared to Ohio State, Notre Dame is quaint.
Did you get the hot chocolate right outside of they got the best hot chocolate stand right before you get to Notre Dame?
Oh, yeah, they have one of those. It's like South Bend chocolate or something like that.
Yeah, South Bend.
Yeah, so we walked right by there. They were selling it, but we didn't get it.
You got to get that. It's the best. Every time I drive to Chicago, I stop and make sure I get some.
All right, so we'll end up doing that. But my point was Michigan was so bad. So bad. I'm sitting there the whole game going, is Notre Dame's defense this good, or is Michigan's offense that bad?
It is. Brady Hoke.
Or do they just hate Brady Hoke?
Brady Hoke is a problem, and Jim Harbaugh is warming up. The seat is staying warm for Jim Harbaugh. That's what's coming. I really believe that.
All right, so the Big Ten looked horrible. We can just leave it at that. Eric, the referee, do we have any other business to take care of in the last 45 seconds?
Yeah, a couple. I want to know who's in your doghouse going into next week.
Oh, hang on. We even have animation for that.
The doghouse.
All right, who's in your doghouse?
The doghouse. Jim O'Neill and Brown's defensive staff, as well as special teams. Special teams were awful yesterday. They were not special. Chris Tabor, you've made it through 3 coaches. You've got to make them play better, and obviously Justin Gilbert.
For Chris Tabor, though, I think it's a hard spot. I mean, look at all the
rookies
changeover on the roster. You don't. I mean, it's a new, fresh thing every year.
It's your job. They had new guys over in Pittsburgh, special teams too.
All right.
Hey, it's a tough business, but when you lose, somebody's got to go in the doghouse.
For me, it's definitely Justin Gilbert. I don't know that he's in the doghouse per se, but he has got to get better next week. I hate to say it because he's a cornerback and it just stands out, but he single-handedly made plays that helped this team lose yesterday.
I don't think it's going to get better next week. I mean, it's the
well,
same
you got Drew
stuff.
Brees. You got a better
Drew
quarterback.
Brees,
I think you have a better quarterback coming in.
I think you have a better quarterback coming in as well.
All right, Eric, what else do we got?
I want to go to Mr. Chris one more time.
Okay.
1 second here.
I can't punch him up, so go ahead. Chris Horn, we're going back to the newsroom on this?
Come on, Chris. I just followed you on Twitter.
Or is he coming back on Skype? I can push that up. He's gone, man. Eric, come on.
not there.
Eric, the referee. I mean, I was kind of
Another flag on
disappointed in your performance today. I think we could have stepped up a little bit better.
you. Is he in the doghouse?
I make the
you're in the
rules.
Put him in
doghouse.
the doghouse?
You are in the doghouse. Here, we'll give you that back. Flare that up.
Oh,
that was pretty
somebody
good.
used the mic finally over there. That's a
Got
good
it.
job.
All right, so you're in the doghouse. What else, Eric? What other
He's
things we
calling
need
us
to take
back.
care
He's
of?
calling us back.
Here,
All right.
I'll do some plugging while we're there.
Okay, go.
Later on today at the Trib Show, after the Indians game, I'll be at the Hooley House in Westlake. Jabal Sheard will join me at 5 o'clock. We'll talk to Jabal today about yesterday's game. It should be really cool. So come out to the Hooley House in Westlake. I'll be there until about 7 o'clock, 5 o'clock, Jabal Sheard.
You can't miss it. They have so many monitors in that place.
I know.
I
It's
love
gonna be
going out
great.
there.
All right,
That's a
let's
great
go
And
to
I'll be at
Chris.
Buffalo Wild Wings later on. But that's
I got a
all
plane to catch, Chris.
Wow. All right, Chris Horn, what do you got for us? Give us the lowdown on social media throughout the show.
You know what I'm loving? Faith over here is doing incredible work, getting people on Twitter just talking like crazy. She doesn't understand any of the football language that they're using, so she's got like a football dictionary pulled up online. But
Here,
she's
give her-
rocking
hey,
it. She's got people talking. You guys just hitting all the topics. It's actually a beautiful thing. And I haven't done anything all morning. I just keep drinking coffee and making sure Colleen doesn't notice.
She's right behind you,
Yeah.
so don't say her name too loud.
What?
Yes, she's right behind
Yeah,
you.
right there.
Hey, all right, Chris, we're done. We'll
All right.
talk to you
Good job,
next
Chris.
week. Great job. We love having you on the show.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Eric, the referee, anything else?
No.
All right, let's do it. Final thoughts.
Final thoughts.
Good start, but not good enough. At some point in time in this town, we have to find a way to be happy about wins, victories. When you don't get them, it's all excuses. And I thought the best thing that the head coach said yesterday, the NFL is a win or lose place. You either fail or you don't. They failed yesterday. I don't take a moral victory from it. I don't believe in them.
All right, I'll take
You
this.
do.
Here's what I'll take. I saw a team that actually made adjustments at halftime, something I don't think I've seen.
In 15 years.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen that. I've seen a team that was led by Brian Hoyer that was able to come back. I didn't see Johnny Manziel, which actually makes
What do
me
you mean
happy.
you didn't see Johnny Manziel?
I mean, I
After
didn't see him
every
on the
play,
field.
They went to him.
I didn't see him on the field.
Who's the
so I was
producer
giving
in
him-
here? Gotta see Johnny. Gotta go to Johnny. I wanted to punch my TV.
Hey, who got more airtime last? Who got more airtime? Was it Johnny Manziel or Brian Hoyer?
Oh, Manziel, hands down. Here's Johnny Manziel tying his shoe. Here's Johnny getting off the bus.
Have a Snickers, my
Oh,
man.
yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I do need one right
Have a
now.
Snickers. All right, I'm going to go get a Magnum, and I'm going to go hang out on a Swan as soon as the show's over here, too. So, all right, we'll listen for you on WTAM.
Yes.
We're back tonight. We have all kinds of stuff on News Channel 5, 6, and 11. Mike Cairns has you taken care of. Again, you want to talk about any of these things with us throughout the week, all you have to do is hit the Dogs on the Run hashtag, and Andre and I will answer that. Tim Couch did an amazing job today. Really glad to have him on the show.
Good stuff.
Great perspective as well. So that'll do it for Dogs on the Run. Make sure you tell your friends about it. And again, we also invite you every Monday. You don't have to leave Dogs on the Run at home. You can take it with you in the car, Bluetooth your phone or your mobile device, or just plug it in into the stereo outlet as well. So that'll do it for week 1 of Dogs on the Run. We will talk to you next week. Dogs on the Run, baby. See you later.
I'm going to get a Snickers.